The movie begins by pulling us into the mysterious and powerful world of a corporation that, on the surface, seems to be a pillar of success and progress. This is the legendary Umbrella Corporation. To the public eye, Umbrella is a respected and thriving company known for producing medicines, health products, and technologies that are part of everyday life. From pharmaceuticals to consumer goods, Umbrella appears to be a trusted corporate giant. But behind this carefully built image lies a dark and deadly truth. The company's real profits do not come from medicine or helpful products. The largest share of its fortune is generated through weapons manufacturing and highly classified biological research. Very few people within the company even know this dark secret. Only the high-ranking officers of Umbrella Corporation are aware of the corporation's true nature. The physical headquarters of this organization is equally deceptive. The main operational facility is called the Hive, and it is not simply another corporate building in the city. Instead, this massive facility has been constructed underground, hidden beneath an entire city. The Hive is a vast labyrinth of labs, offices, and testing areas, all guarded by the most advanced security systems in the world. As the film starts, we see a shadowy figure moving inside one of Umbrella's secret labs. This figure is stealing something from the highly secured laboratory. Carefully and deliberately, he takes a vial containing a green-colored antivirus. He secures it, but before leaving, he commits an act that will trigger the catastrophe of the story. In a deliberate move, he throws a blue vial onto the ground. This vial contains a deadly virus. The glass shatters, and the dangerous T-virus is released into the atmosphere. The virus spreads quickly, flowing into the air ducts, traveling through the lab, and reaching every corner of the facility. Workers continue their daily routines, unaware of the invisible doom creeping around them. One man in a hurry collides with the thief in the hallway. Neither of them stops, and the scene continues as if nothing unusual happened. But the virus has already begun its silent work. Inside the facility, employees rush into elevators. As the system begins to malfunction due to the spreading infection, one of the elevators suddenly halts between floors. At the same time, in the laboratory, security dogs sense the contamination. Their instincts pick up on the deadly change, and they begin barking furiously. Within moments, alarms echo across the building. Fire suppression systems activate, unleashing torrents of water that rain down heavily. Inside one chamber, a frightened female employee desperately tries to explain to the surveillance cameras that this is not a fire and that the system has made a mistake. She pleads for the flooding to stop, but her cries go unanswered, and water continues pouring in, threatening to drown them. Meanwhile, in the trapped elevator, the terrified employees attempt to escape. One woman, in her desperation to be the first to climb out, meets a gruesome and painful death. Panic spreads. What was supposed to be just another workday has now become a nightmare. Amidst this chaos, the story introduces us to our main protagonist, Alice. She awakens in a luxurious mansion located above the underground facility. However, something is wrong. As she opens her eyes, she realizes that she has no memory of how she got there. In fact, she remembers nothing at all. Her entire memory has been wiped clean. Disoriented and confused, Alice begins exploring her surroundings. She discovers a gun hidden inside a locker, raising more questions about who she really is. On a table, she finds a framed photograph. The picture shows her in a wedding dress, standing next to a man she supposedly married. But Alice cannot recall ever being married. The confusion in her mind deepens. As she tries to make sense of her situation, she senses an unusual atmosphere in the mansion. Suddenly, a man named Matt appears. He claims to be there to help her, but before Alice can question him further, a heavily armed squad of Umbrella commandos storms the house. The soldiers swiftly capture both Alice and Matt. The group moves quickly, escorting Alice and Matt onto a train that leads deep underground. Inside the train, they find another unconscious individual. This man is identified as Spence, who also wakes up in a state of memory loss, much like Alice. To Alice's shock, Spence is the man from her wedding photograph, her supposed husband. But the mystery thickens when Alice starts experiencing fragmented visions, brief flashes of wedding memories. They seem real, but something about them feels artificial, as though they were fabricated. Tensions rise as Alice, now holding a gun, demands answers from the squad leader. She points her weapon directly at him, demanding to know what is truly happening. The soldiers reveal the disturbing truth: the marriage was never real. Both Alice and Spence were placed in the mansion as part of a cover operation. The mansion itself was a front, a disguised entrance to the Hive. The supposed marriage was a manufactured cover story designed to conceal their actual roles. The squad explains the reason for their mission. The Hive's central artificial intelligence, known as the Red Queen, has suddenly gone rogue and killed everyone inside the underground facility. The employees who were trapped during the alarm sequence were all executed by the Red Queen's defense systems. The soldiers are tasked with infiltrating the Hive, shutting down the Red Queen, and regaining control. The group soon descends deeper into the underground complex. The atmosphere is chilling, sterile, and filled with a sense of menace. The Red Queen is already monitoring their every movement. With them is a skilled hacker, whose expertise is needed to breach security doors and gain access to restricted areas. As they approach a critical section, the hacker unlocks a secured hallway. Several soldiers move inside cautiously, but suddenly the door seals shut, locking them inside. The Red Queen has trapped them. Within seconds, the Hive's most lethal security measure is activated, a laser defense system. A thin, deadly beam of light moves across the corridor, slicing through anything in its path. The soldiers attempt to dodge, but the first strike beheads a female commando instantly. Alice watches in horror as her teammates are slaughtered. The remaining soldiers shout at their leader, urging him to shut the system down. The laser grid adapts, changing its pattern with each pass. Another soldier is sliced apart. The squad leader bravely stands his ground, but the system shifts again, creating a lattice of energy beams that leaves him no escape. In a fraction of a second, his body is cut into pieces. The hacker finally succeeds in shutting down the system, but it is too late. Nearly the entire team has been butchered. The survivors push forward, shaken by the loss. They enter the Red Queen's chamber, determined to shut down the AI. When they reach her core, the Red Queen materializes as a chilling hologram, a young girl with a cold, robotic demeanor. She warns them sternly not to disconnect her. She claims that if they proceed, they will doom themselves. She explains that she sealed the Hive because the T-virus was released inside the facility. Her actions, though brutal, were an attempt to contain the outbreak and prevent global catastrophe. According to the Red Queen, the T-virus has the potential to destroy all of humanity. The employees who perished were sacrifices to prevent its spread. But the commandos refuse to listen. Despite her warnings, they disable her, and the Hive's sealed doors swing open. Unbeknownst to them, this action unleashes a far greater horror. With the Red Queen offline, containment systems fail. Trapped creatures and infected employees are now free to roam. Above ground, Rain, Matt, and another officer wait for the others to return. They hear noises in the distance, and Rain investigates. She encounters what appears to be a surviving employee. But this survivor is no longer human. She is the first zombie Rain encounters. The woman lunges at her and bites her arm. Panicked, Rain calls for help. Another officer arrives and warns her to stay back. But the infected woman continues advancing, driven by a mindless hunger. Rain shoots her multiple times, finally killing her. Shaken and bleeding, Rain realizes the nightmare has just begun. Soon, Alice and the hacker regroup with them. They explain that most of the squad has been wiped out by the Hive's defenses. As they attempt to move forward, the true horror emerges. Hordes of zombies, the reanimated corpses of Umbrella employees. The survivors open fire, unloading their weapons, but quickly discover that the undead do not fall easily. Bullets tear through their bodies, yet they keep coming. Confused and terrified, they unleash explosives to create diversions, desperately seeking escape routes. During the chaos, one officer is overwhelmed and dragged away by zombies. The group is forced to abandon him as they retreat deeper into the Hive. Meanwhile, Alice becomes separated. While searching for a way out, she stumbles upon one of the most terrifying experiments in the facility, the infected Doberman dogs. Their flesh is torn and mutated from exposure to the virus. The pack attacks her, forcing Alice to fight for her life. With a sudden surge of instinct, she unleashes a series of deadly combat moves, killing the dogs one by one. Her reflexes and fighting skills are flawless, surprising even herself. Though she cannot remember her past, her abilities reveal that she was no ordinary woman. Unknowingly, Alice was once a top-level security operative for the Umbrella Corporation. After defeating the dogs, Alice arms herself further and continues forward. Meanwhile, Matt searches the facility and is attacked by a zombie. Alice arrives just in time to save him. The horrifying twist is revealed. The zombie was Matt's sister. She had been working inside the Hive to expose Umbrella's corruption, and was one of the whistleblowers gathering evidence. Now, infected by the T-virus, she had become one of the undead. Matt confesses to Alice that his sister was investigating Umbrella's illegal experiments. He explains that a security officer was secretly helping her in her mission to expose the corporation. What Matt doesn't know is that Alice herself was that very security officer, but her memory loss prevents her from telling him. Together, Alice, Matt, Rain, and the remaining survivors face wave after wave of the undead. Realizing they cannot survive alone, Alice insists on reactivating the Red Queen for guidance. Once rebooted, the Red Queen explains why the zombies refuse to die easily. The T-virus doesn't just kill, it reanimates. It rebuilds dead cells, giving the infected enhanced strength and resilience. The only way to stop them permanently is with a direct shot to the brain. The survivors press on, following the Red Queen's directions. She offers them a potential escape route through an underground tunnel. But the journey is perilous. Swarms of zombies attack, infecting more of the group. The hacker is badly wounded during the onslaught. Alice and the others manage to escape through the passage, but the hacker sacrifices himself to hold back the horde. As Alice leads Rain and Matt forward, she recalls that there must be an antidote, the antivirus that was stolen earlier. She believes it might still be in the facility and desperately searches for it, hoping to cure Rain, whose infection is worsening. But when she looks, the antidote is missing. Someone has already taken it. Matt notices her strange knowledge and asks how she knows so much about the virus and the cure. Finally, Alice admits her secret. She had been working with his sister to expose Umbrella. She was the one meant to deliver the stolen vial to help them bring down the corporation. At that moment, Spence regains his memory. The horrifying truth comes to light. He was the one who stole the virus and released it. It was Spence who threw the vial, unleashing the outbreak. He had been the traitor all along. Alice, Matt, and Rain can do nothing but watch in horror. But the nightmare has only just begun. Having tasted blood, the liquor grows stronger, its body mutating even further. Umbrella's dark secret becomes clear. This is not a natural creature, but one of their bioweapons, designed to evolve with each kill. The more it feeds, the more powerful it becomes. With Spence dead, Alice searches for the antivirus he had been carrying. She manages to retrieve it from his belongings, clutching the only chance they have of survival. Rain's infection is worsening. Her skin is pale, sweat pouring down her face, her movements growing sluggish. Alice desperately tries to keep her alive long enough to administer the cure. The group makes their way back to the train, but the liquor is not far behind. Inside the train, Alice injects Rain with the antivirus, hoping it will reverse the infection. She also injects the wounded hacker, who has somehow managed to rejoin them despite his injuries. For a brief moment, hope flickers. Perhaps they can still escape. The train roars to life, racing down the tracks toward the exit. But the reprieve is short-lived. The liquor smashes into the train, its claws tearing through steel. The survivors panic as the creature forces its way inside. Chaos erupts. Rain, despite being injected with the antivirus, begins convulsing violently. To everyone's horror, it is too late. The virus inside her body has advanced too far. Instead of healing, she transforms into a zombie right before their eyes. Her eyes glaze over, her face twisting into a mask of hunger. She lunges at Matt, biting and clawing. Matt struggles desperately, pinned down by his former ally. With no choice left, he pulls out his weapon and fires. The shot echoes, and Rain collapses, lifeless at last. Matt stares at her body, devastated by the loss, but there is no time to mourn. The liquor has fully entered the train. The battle reaches its climax. Alice faces the monster head-on. Her instincts take over, her body moving with a speed and precision that even she doesn't fully understand. Every strike, every dodge feels like muscle memory from a past she cannot recall. She fights fiercely, distracting the liquor while Matt prepares the final blow. The creature lunges at them, but Alice manages to trap it. With quick thinking, she forces it toward the rear of the train. Matt activates a mechanism that causes the doors to slam shut behind it. The liquor is caught in a trap, its body dragged and torn apart as the train speeds forward. Finally, with a bone-crunching impact, the beast is crushed beneath the wheels. Its reign of terror ends in a gruesome death. Breathing heavily, Alice and Matt share a brief moment of relief. The nightmare, they think, is over. The train continues forward, carrying them out of the hive. But fate has other plans. As they step off the train and reach the surface, Umbrella operatives suddenly surround them. Heavily armed scientists and soldiers pour in, their presence cold and clinical. Alice and Matt are immediately restrained. One of the scientists notices Matt's injuries. The bite marks on his arm reveal the truth. He has been infected by the T-virus. Instead of helping him, the scientists see an opportunity. They decide to take Matt into custody for a new experimental program, something called the Nemesis Project. He is dragged away, his fate uncertain but undoubtedly horrific. Alice resists, fighting with every ounce of strength left in her, but she is overpowered. Sedatives are injected into her veins, and her world fades into darkness. When Alice awakens, she finds herself strapped to a medical stretcher inside a sterile umbrella laboratory. The room is blindingly white, filled with machines and surgical instruments. Her body is covered in wires and tubes, monitoring every vital sign. She realizes instantly that Umbrella is experimenting on her, just as they have with countless others. Summoning her strength, Alice tears herself free from the restraints. She rips out the needles, blood dripping from her wounds, and staggers to her feet. Her body feels weak, yet her determination is stronger than ever. She makes her way out of the lab, each step revealing more of Umbrella's horrifying work. Finally, she emerges outside. What she sees leaves her in shock. The world she once knew has collapsed. The city above the Hive is no longer alive and bustling. It is a wasteland. Streets lie abandoned, cars overturned, fires smoldering in the distance. Windows are shattered, buildings stand in ruins, and silence hangs heavy in the air. The T-virus has spread beyond the Hive. The entire city is infected. Alice, standing in the middle of the devastation, picks up a shotgun from a deserted police car. Her eyes burn with determination. Though she has lost her memory, one thing is now crystal clear. Umbrella is responsible for this apocalypse, and she will stop them. The camera pulls back slowly, revealing the full extent of the destruction. The city lies in ruin, a breeding ground for the undead. The nightmare is only beginning, and with this haunting vision, the movie ends.